So as the pendulum has shifted and people are wondering, what do we do now? We're doubling down on LinkedIn. But believe it or not, in 2025, there's still a plethora of people who don't even know how to get started with using LinkedIn, not just as a resume builder, but as a
Mhm.
brand amplifier, a decision maker, a storytelling engine. And you've mastered that. You've built the community, you've built the following, you've gone the ins and outs. How does someone get started with utilizing LinkedIn and what could they learn working with you to convert their LinkedIn account into a job seeking applicator?
So, number one, the best analogy I've been able to come up with is just mine. Is it's like a billboard. If you're driving on an interstate and you're going into a downtown area and you see a billboard and it says "Got Milk" and it has a big number and it's got a little picture, it's trying to get you to do something with the acknowledgement that you only have 3 to 5 seconds to glance at it at 65 miles an hour. LinkedIn's no different. I hate to break it to you, but the reality is that we have a very short attention span, especially millennials and the younger generations, because we've grown up with this. We are used to only having to glance at something for 1.5 to 3 seconds, and we get the information that we want and decide whether we're going to stay there or not. Well, sorry, but if your LinkedIn profile is bland, no one's going to look at it for longer than 1.5 to 3 seconds. So, this is your billboard. It's your chance to drive traffic to millions of people and show them what you're about. With that as a backdrop, wouldn't you spend a little more time and money? Money might be true investment to a coach, or I'm just talking about investing your time, which is money, into actually developing a profile that looks, feels, and has the sense of professionalism. And if you don't know how to do it, you don't have to hire me, but I'm advising you go hire somebody that's a creator that knows how to help you look snazzy, look really professional, look like the piece, the person, the thought leader that you know you are, but nobody else knows you are. So that's the other element of truth in this. You're actually a nobody. Even executives I know, they're really big in their corporations and they're decision makers. Nobody knows or cares who they are unless you give us a reason to care or know who you are. So until you start writing on LinkedIn and you just got to hit that post button and you say, so what do I write? Well, one of the things that you can write is write a story. Write a story about a challenge you had as an executive or a manager or a senior leader and tell us what the outcome was. Tell us a story. There's a protagonist, there's an antagonist, um, and recognize that sometimes in your stories you might feel like, well, I've always got to be the protagonist, and someone else always has to be the bad guy. No, sometimes people just want to see realism, and sometimes you're the bad guy in your story. I didn't manage people the right way, and this is what I learned from it. This is why I'm a better leader now. This is how I became the executive that now manages a $7 million budget because I learned from my failures when I was a manager or a senior manager or a supervisor. I have some of those stories. One time when I became a supervisor, somebody wrote, I guess, on their note to the manager that I was the reason they quit. I made them cry during one of the coaching sessions. I just want to be upfront with people that I can be harsh in the sense like I don't believe that people need icing on a cake, especially in your job search. What you need is somebody to be laser focused in helping you identify the gaps that you have against the competition. So when I tell you something, it's not just random. I've talked to 15 other salespeople that are currently looking for jobs too, and I'm telling you that they're competitive and they've done some cool things. You may not know that. All you see on LinkedIn is that there's 1,000 applicants and you feel stressed. But the data shows something that maybe you didn't consider. Most recruiters say that like 9 times out of 10, people aren't qualified for the role anyways. So don't get bogged down by the number. Just apply. One of my clients, she applied to this role and she reached out to me before she applied and she goes, I don't know, it's like a shot in the dark. There's already 1,000+ applicants. And within 32 minutes, she had an interview lined up. She was like applicant 1,075 or something like that. And she goes, Chris, it works. I told her, of course it works because you're qualified. And we made it apparent on your resume that you're the person for the job for this field. By the way, she was a senior product manager. If you were curious, like who is she? She did have 10+ years experience at a notable company. She did not have a bunch of job hopping around. So there are some things that are in your control and not in your control. And there's some things about LinkedIn. Write a good headline. And I mean a good headline. The way I like to think of a headline is like a hook in a creative paper back in high school. And I don't know if you remember, but your English teacher, I hope, told you what mine told me, which is show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. Every good English teacher should teach us that. That's what a story means. So in our conversation, I've been telling you real stories from real clients. I want you to see what real people are experiencing in a tough market and what it really is like for them. And in that regard, when you write a creative paper, you have one thing. Do you remember what it is, guys and girls? It's a hook. You got to hook somebody into there. Why should I care about you at all? So a hook might be that one sentence liner. Now you're going to have the buzzwords, which are SEO, by the way, search engine optimization. And you're going to have that I'm a project manager, that I'm an executive, that I have 15 years experience, that I work in the SaaS field, and that I do manufacturing. Those are like some buzzwords that they need to know. But really good profiles have a one sentence hook. I have delivered on $18+ million in the last year. Boom, I got to talk to you. I lead organizations with 500+ employees. Great, I know the size that you're capable of. I have helped coordinate or improve a system by 42%. Great, so you know how to optimize something to decrease my bottom line for the CFO. That's something I can grab onto. What's your USP? What have you honestly done that somebody that's not the dime a dozen? That's what people often think of. When they get to their headline, when they get to their experience section, all they do is regurgitate bullet points. Well, that's fine if you have amazing bullet points that are storytelling. But if your bullet points are crap, you just repeated what was crap on a resume to crap on a LinkedIn. Let's be clear. What's a good bullet point on a resume then, Troy? It needs to highlight what were you asked to do, how did you do it, and what was the result? And you have to do all of that in only 1 to 2 sentences per bullet point. But if your bullet point is telling me, like the one I just read this morning in a potential client, is I help report something to senior leaders that had to do with data. That's not a bullet point to get a $150,000 job. So what I advise them for is you could have written it something like this. I lead a team of 6 people, and in managing them, I present a daily report to senior execs about the progress of the project. Now I know a cadence of which you do it. I know who you talk to. I know how many people you manage. And of course, data's filled in there. But don't just add data to that line. Go to the next line and say, we have optimized the data system through AI or automations to improve our cadence by 32%. So now we have another bullet point about some unique expertise. Now you know automations. Now you have other buzzwords on there that you didn't add if you just put data as a solo word at the end of a bullet point randomly. Every career, though, is going to be a little bit different. So some people ask me, I don't have a lot of numbers in what I do for a living. People, there are numbers in everything that you do for a living. You can find them. You just have to be a little bit creative. For example, they say, well, there's no numbers. And they say, well, I do in supply chain. I'm not trying to improve a system. I'm just trying to get logistics down. I tell them, how many departments do you work with? Oh, with this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. Great. So you're a really good coordinator or facilitator with 5 different departments. That's a number, 5. 5 departments every single day. Great. So you know how to work with lots of different facets of people with a unique skill set, and you know how to bring them all together into one cohesive whole. That's a bullet point you can put on your resume. That's a skill set people pay for. It's not a skill every leader has. So think outside of the box. What do I do in the nitty-gritty details of my life? And you know what, Troy, you know what they tell me? What they tell me is that I've just done it for so long, 15, 20, whatever years, I didn't think that was something notable. Well, it's notable to someone that's never heard of you, that needs somebody that can't do what you do today. Now, let's go back to LinkedIn. So the other thing, let's just go through the bullets of what you should do. You go to canva.com. It's totally free. You typed in LinkedIn banner, and it's already presupposed for you, the right size, everything. And they have literally 1,000+ templates for free. You can pay if you want some more creative ones. It's a pro version. I pay for it. It's like $12.99 a month or something. But just use the free one. I'm not asking you to spend money. Use the free one. Go in there, edit the colors. And I mean, anybody, you don't have to be creative. They already done all the hard work for you. They placed it in the right place. They put the right names. All you have to do is edit. They even chose the fonts and colors for you, people. Like, this is dummy version. It's awesome. It's really cool. And it's free. Canva.com. Your headline. Just go mimic other people's headlines. Just go search operational leaders in LinkedIn. Click on 10 profiles. You're like, I like that headline. That catches my attention. Copy and paste it, put it into your headline, and rewrite the words in the same format that they used. You get to your experience. Run your resume by 5 individuals that you trust, your current resume. If they feel, and let's be more descriptive than that, 3 people should be people that currently work in your industry so that when they read the bullet point, they understand what you're talking about. 2 people should be people that do not work in your industry. And if you cannot explain it to them, there's a good chance the recruiter's not going to understand it either. The recruiter's not an executive that works in your field that understands the monotony and the nuances of the jargon within your industry. Now, they're going to be trained and they're going to be technical and they're going to be pretty seasoned, but that doesn't mean you're going to get through the first round unless you explain it in a way that they do understand and they can encapsulate what it is that aligns with the job description. Then these are the 2 crucial pieces that you might be missing: your skills and your recommendations. You need people to endorse your skills that are credible, worked in your field. I was watching a seminar by a talent acquisition manager of Google, who manages large organizations of recruiters and talent acquisition people. And she said, even at Google, when we have 4,000 applicants per job, when we get down to the nitty gritty, and it sometimes is hard to decipher who we should interview, I go spend a few minutes and go research if anybody endorsed them or recommended them for their skills. And she goes, it helps me decide. I've never talked to you. And if I got to decide between 50 people, I'm only going to talk to 15 of you. I want to quickly spend a few minutes because this job pays $240,000 a year. And if 10 people said that you're really good at software engineering, they're all vouching for you. I want to interview you. If you claim you're really good at marketing and nobody has anything to say about you in marketing, why should I trust you to come to Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, and pay you $200,000 a year to do marketing? What you might, if you're older, and you're watching this, what you might be thinking of is, well, I have references. References are a thing of old news. Yes, some people use references, but lots of companies don't. They don't. They have recommendations on LinkedIn that are pre-built in, that a tool is already there, that they can have references for you for free without having to go to the extra mile to go call anybody and talk to them. So get those references. And references need to be like this. If you've ever had a 360 annual review, that's what you need to think of. Someone above you, someone below you, someone adjacent to you, and someone that you manage. All these pieces, and an executive or a decision maker that works in the department adjacent to you but knows of your work. So they're not necessarily biased about you, but they're like, they're a good worker. They have good character. I know that they did a good job. That gives the new employer a really good holistic view of who you are. And make no mistake, they're hiring you, not just a piece of paper.